So today we are going to look at Actively Learn and NEWSELA or NEWSELA. However you say it, both tools are pretty impactful. They're not just, just for English teachers. We'll talk about all the different ways we can use it, but Actively Learn has opened up most of their things. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more in depth than we will with NEWSELA. Just because even though NEWSELA opened up everything, they're not as in depth with what you can do with them. All right. So Actively Learn, if you're not familiar with it, is a warehouse of text. It has articles, novels, poems, short stories, just anything you can think of. It's housed onto Actively Learn. It's more of a close reading tool, so you can embed different forms of scaffolding. You can put in some definitions, you can put in some notes, you can embed videos to help them understand, you can embed graphic organizers or even diagrams. Just think, anything that will help them understand a text that you would have put in front of them, you can embed into the story or text. You have, at this point, you have unlimited uploads. The free version, which we normally have, is just 3 uploads, but right now they've opened up most of their features. The only thing they didn't open up, which I found out with Lindsay Ross yesterday, was like they have entire novels on there, like Long Way Down is there, but they're charging us to rent it per child. So even though they say that they open up everything, they don't quite open up everything. And I'm not going to play it, but here's an introduction video which will go over all of the different features and kind of model it for you. Over here kind of goes over like the different things that are available in ELA, science, and social studies. But I've also found articles on mental health for Makita for her health class. So it's not just content areas. There are some things outside of content areas. I've also found some things in different languages. So when you log into your dashboard, like this is what I see when I log in. And at the top, you can see that you can search by curriculum unit, which starts about at 6th grade. Genres, themes, news and articles. School library is something that, like, as we as a staff start putting stuff in, we can connect it to each other. Then obviously your inputs, anything that you upload. And then at the tippy top, there you can search by grade level, by Lexile level, or by standard. So those are 3 helpful things as well. And obviously there's a search bar. And then over on the left-hand side are where your classes are. So if you are K-8, so we're going to be using Google Classrooms. It integrates with Google Classroom for free, and we'll show you how to do that. So all you have to do is hit the plus sign, and then you can make your Actively Learn mirror your Google Classroom. And that way students don't come to Actively Learn. If you push out an assignment, they go to their Google Classroom for you, and then that's how they can access the assignment that you've pushed out. Okay, so in genres, I just wanted to show you really quick because genres and themes are pretty extensive. And I can't remember what I saw the other day, and I thought I should definitely include that. But they have things, speeches, historical fiction, text set. There was something on like a TBA kind of thing, but you can look through it. Themes, it's pretty extensive as well. So if you're looking at exposing the kids to different themes, that's always an option. So when you want to choose an article, so I was hovering over, like I could see the picture for a monkey's paw, but I hovered over it. And if you hover over an article, you can examine the reading level, the topics. You can see that there's different themes that are explored within that text, and it shows you. And then if you click on it, you can preview it, or I can just star it, this little star right here, and then it'll show up in my favorites, and I can come back to it. It also gives you the essential question. But once you click on it, I've clicked on the assignment, and this is what I can see. So it'll give me ideas for teaching this text. Like I can insert a poll. I can do text to text, connections, all these different things that it can get. I don't have to do those. They're just teaching ideas. And then it'll show you some assignment directions and like an extra text help summary thing that you can push out to kids. But what I do is I customize. So you can either choose assign or you can choose customize. And so if you assign it, it'll stay as is, like the way that the company has made this text. But if you want to customize it, then that's when you can embed all of the extra bells and whistles. You can make it like maybe you don't want to go over whatever standard it's going over and you want to try something different to make it match with your curriculum, then you can customize it and change all of those things. So once you hit customize, you have this text bar at the top. And I just want to go over it because I think sometimes it's ignored just because we get so excited to embed all of the different features to scaffold the text for the students. But you have all of these things like text. At the bottom of the text box, it says use dyslexic settings. So if you are in a special ed environment or if you're regular ed, but you have somebody that is dyslexic or has some type of processing with their eyes or just the way that they see text, you can use a dyslexic setting. So I just wanted to highlight that really quick. You can co-author an assignment. So if you're co-teaching, or maybe you've done this and you know that the English class is also, next to you is also doing the monkey's paw, you can send it to them. So you can send a copy to the colleagues, and then they will have to your colleagues in your department, and then they will have their very own copy of this with the things you've already embedded so that you did the work, and then now you're just sharing it. And maybe the teacher next time will do the work and then share it with you. But you can also co-author. So if I'm teaching with Katrina, then her and I could work on this together if I chose co-author, and then we would embed and respond to students together. Obviously, if you hit the search bar, you can make this assignment a quiz, not just like a regular assignment. You can also remove questions by section that somebody else has already put in there so that you don't have to go through, you know, the article yourself and scroll and scroll and scroll. So that's just a nice feature to look at. And then the last one that we'll look at is the notes. You can embed notes. You can look at the questions, the key vocabulary, and you can even print out the text. You know, I don't know what we're doing for kids that don't have internet, but you could print out the text and technically we could send it to them. Okay, before I go on, does anyone have any questions? You good, Andy?
Yeah, we're good.
I have a question, sorry. Is there any way, right now when I used it for the FID days, every time a student like accidentally submitted an answer before they were done typing, I had to go in and approve for them to change their answer. Okay. Is there a place to change that setting?
I don't know, but I will look it up. I've not had that happen before. I would assume so. I don't know because it locks you. I don't know. We'll have to look at it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they would be in the middle of doing the assignment. They would skip that, you know what I mean? Like start answering that question, accidentally turn it in.
Yeah.
And then that would throw them off and they wouldn't remember to go back and fix it. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Also actively learn. Like I had a bunch of questions yesterday because of Canvas, like long story, but they're shutting down Canvas integration. So you can't do it at the high school with Canvas. But they have a chat option. So like I was just messaging and somebody just kept messaging me back. So whatever question I had, they immediately got back to me. So if you ever, like, I'm going to check on that one. But if you ever have a question, they're really good. Their support's amazing. We're not even a paid customer, and they were getting back to me several questions. So different ways that you can support student learners. This is my favorite feature about Actively Learn that NEWSELA, whatever, does not have. You can embed different levels of scaffolding and support. So right here is a screenshot of what I was about to do. I highlighted the word parlor. I just clicked and highlighted it. I could insert a question, insert a note, insert a link. I could white it out, meaning that like, if I don't want this student to read this section, I can just get rid of the whole thing. You know, you can embed videos about a parlor or a picture of a parlor, whatever you want to do. So you just highlight whatever text that you want the students to pay attention to or to be highlighted, and then you can insert different forms of scaffolding for them to help them understand the term or whatever it is that the word choice the author's using, whatever it is that they need a little bit more support on or for. We don't have high school people in here, right, Andy?
Right.
Okay, this is K-8. All right. So if you are wanting to use this, it will work very nicely with your Google Classroom. And both of these pictures are hyperlinked. So if you want to learn how to assign a text to Google Classroom or assign a chapter by section, whatever you want to do, all of the directions are hyperlinked to this side. And then over here, this talks about creating a teacher account, creating a student account, your profile, all of these things. But really the one I highlighted down here was Google Classroom integration. there's a nice little video. I don't know that you're going to need it because it's pretty simple, but it'll walk you through step by step on how to integrate Google Classroom with Actively Learn, because they work pretty well together. And so let me just pull up my account before I move on.
Kate,
Yeah.
I know we're going to Google Classroom integration. If we're doing that, do we have to create student accounts as well?
Nope.
No.
Good.
Nope. Okay, let me go back and share my whole thing.
Which is a great plus of using Classroom, is that you don't then have to create it again, something, and then manage that and figure out who's forgot what.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is my dashboard when I log in to Actively Learn. And like I said, you can search by grade level, you can search by Lexile level, you can search by standard. And then the curriculum units are newer, but that starts at 6th grade. So, but anyways, those are the ways that you can search. Here, you can high interest articles. Apparently April is poetry month. There's popular middle school assignments, all of these things. And so you can see, the length, the grade level suggested, and the Lexile level, and you can easily assign it to a class, or you can star it and bookmark it later. Over here are my classes, and you can see like ELA blue, and that was when I was in the classroom. These are my classrooms. I know we've done some pop-up classrooms. So we have like a PD classroom. We also have our SMS classroom. But to add a class, I hit the plus sign, and then I can import from my Google Classroom, which is what you want to do. And then it'll pop up. So here are all the ones I'm connected to. It may not let me add because I'm connected to so many. Yeah, no, okay. So let's pretend, I don't know who Red is. That might be Lebo. And then I can hit import. Yes, this is Jim Lebo. He's going to kill me. So now I can sync it with my classroom. I have to hit sync. And then all of the kiddos over here, there's 18 kiddos are gonna populate. So then I can see the assignments for this certain classroom. There's a grade book. There's going to be student data and class data. But here's my roster. So once they're able to log in to the Google Classroom, they'll see it. But Andy, remind me to get rid of that.
Sorry, I'm trying to chat with Actively Learn right now.
Oh, okay. So just remind me this is Jim Lebo's class I just synced with. Remind me to.
Okay. Yeah, okay, we'll take that out. Yes.
Yeah.
Because Jim's in here anyway, so it's good.
He is? No, he's. Okay, let me go to my window now. Let me go back to the window.
It's fine.
Oh! He caught me. Okay, can you see my presentation? It should be popping up.
Yes, you're good.
Okay. All right. So NEWSELA is something that I know that the middle school is familiar with. It's not as meaty. But they have opened up everything. So the middle school kind of had it, or was pockets of the middle school was piloting it. But now they've opened up all of their things to everyone, so anybody can use it. And again, when you log in or you create, it's just like other things. You're going to want to log in with your Google account. It's very similar to Actively Learn, as it has a warehouse of text. But think more of like news and current events. It does have, world history and articles about the past. It's not just news, but it got its start with about news. So it's slightly different. It doesn't have as many options as Actively Learn, but it does have primary sources, which is that, and famous speeches, which is this, something that's very useful in the classroom no matter what you teach. It is kind of a close reading tool as well. Here's where the biggest difference is. You aren't able to embed the scaffolding as if you are in Actively Learn. It's basically just highlight and annotations. And then afterwards, there's quizzes and comprehension checks. So, and then here's a video on the annotation features, which is hyperlinked. I know I didn't say this about Actively Learn. Where is it? So the one thing about Actively Learn, I don't know. Okay. Is that they can't always go forward until they've answered a question. So when you're embedding the question, it's like Edpuzzle, if you've ever used Edpuzzle. So if you embed a question, whether it's multiple choice, short answer, and it's a private one, students are not able to move on until they've answered the question. So they can't look at the whole text. whereas NEWSELA is slightly different. The questions aren't embedded in the center. They're answering questions at the end. So here is what you will see when you log in. And so at the top, it does not have the extensive, search by category. You have the news, you have library, you have your content, and things that are in your binder, meaning articles, text, whatever that you've saved that you would like to push out to students eventually. And so this one is not as, go to the next one. This one's not as difficult. There's not as much to go over. It's not as extensive in what you can do with it, but it's still pretty helpful. And they have pretty high engaging text. Like I actually read this bioluminescence, a chemical reaction that lights up fireflies and jellyfish. We all know about bioluminescence, but it's really cool in the way that they can use it. So nerd fact. So anyways, you can choose an article by assigning it or bookmarking it. So like, if you want to assign it, you would click assign. But let's say you're like, oh, that looks like a really cool article. I'm not teaching that topic for another 2 or 3 weeks. You can just highlight the bookmark symbol and then it'll stay in your binder so that you can come back to it later. But if you decide that you would like to assign it, you can create the assignment. And when you do that, you can adjust the text level, create the, write in the directions, create the title, and then you go through it. So let me go back. Let me stop sharing for a second. I popped it up. Share screen. It's a little slow this morning. Okay, so if I'm choosing, let's go back. Science and math. Okay, here's the article on bioluminescence. If you're a nerd, it's a really interesting article. So here it is, and I can assign it. And so as I click on assignment, I can create assignment. And now I can select a class. Okay, I haven't imported all of my classes. So let's just assign it to the PD, the SMS PD classroom. I can adjust my text level. So depends on, what you're looking for. I don't know what level your kids are. And then you can write your instructions right here. So, if they need to highlight any words that you do not understand in red, which they don't always do, you can instruct them to do that. Or maybe, every time that they found an interesting fact or the main idea, something that supports the main idea, maybe they highlight it in yellow. You have all these different colors. So now I want to view it and I can go in and this is where I can edit it. Okay, and so this is what I mean by like, if I am highlighting it, I can pick a color and then I can write something in here. Like, I don't know, I'm just gonna write text. And then that's a note that I've helped the students in some way understand this text. This is different from Actively Learn because if you're in Actively Learn, let me go back to content. You can do a lot more with it. So I'm going to customize. Okay, so like here, some of these things are already highlighted for me, right? They've embedded a picture. They've embedded key terms. Here's a link. So if I want to embed something, I just highlight it. Whoops. Sorry, it's being slow. And then this thing pops up, and then I can embed all of these things. Whereas with NEWSELA and NEWSELA, you literally just get a highlight. But over here with the activities, you can write a prompt. You can keep their prompt, or you can edit it and make it your own. And then the quiz is the same way. So I don't know how wonderful the quizzes are, but they're there for your use. Yeah, so let me go back to, do we have a question, Andy?
I'm adding something. So while you're getting in and out, the two things I'm putting in the chat, which we can send out to this group as a follow-up, is what Actively Learn support just responded back to me to Katrina's question, saying you can adjust that and many others. They sent these 2 articles. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had time to sift through them, but they look screen shared well. So Katrina and all, we can play around with that, but those are at least something to keep us dangerous for being able to change some of those settings. Sorry, Kate, go ahead.
You're good. Okay, so the last thing to go over really quick before we run out of time is, this is a really easy way. Also, this is how you sync your classrooms. So you're going to want to go into, you see where I highlighted the CS, my initials? That's like your account center. So you want to go in there and choose settings, and then you want to, you can either, well, this is for the high school, they're going to create a class, but for you, you're going to sync your classes from Google. So you don't want to create a class, you're just going to sync one. So anybody from 4 through 8 will be syncing with Google, and anyone from 9 to 12 will have to create a class. And that is it. 5 minutes to spare-ish.
Anybody have any questions? Anything you want Kate or I to show? Mostly Kate in this one.
Jim, I'll make sure I unsync that class before your kids get confused. I love that he was here and I was like, whoops.
Well, I have a hangout with them this morning. See how many of them notice.
Yeah, you'll have to ask. I'll get some random notification.
Yeah.
So yeah, both tools are really helpful. I tend to really like Actively Learn. It's my favorite. But
Okay. Found that. Live.
Are you
Okay.
reading the chat?
Yeah. I'm just going to copy that comment, Katrina, and put it right in the chat I have with them.
All right.
Did you copy it?
Yes.
Here it comes through.
Let's see what they come back with.
Okay.
You're right, though. They are very quick.
They're very good. It's an excellent company.
Well, it's nice that they also assign like 5 people on anything at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So like for anybody that does try to do support, they assign 5 people to look at a support question, and then whoever the first one is to respond to it. I think that.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question for obviously mixed learning levels. What's the best Lexar to choose just to hit the most people, learners that most kids can handle?
So the higher the Lexile, the higher the vocabulary, right? So like I would stay like 900-ish, depending on.
Okay. That's what I thought.
And the thing is, it's funny because Lexile was so different than grade level. Because you could have something that's a really high Lexile, but like not that much text, and my 5th grader could read it.
Right.
But then Lexile is just so tricky. So I don't tend to pay attention as much. But next to when you're choosing the Lexile level, they've now started to give like a grade level suggestion.
Mm.
So you'll see like, because some of it, like the Lexile level could be low, but the content could be high.
Right.
So like even if the Lexile level 700, it'll say 12th grade if it's meant for like high school.
Gotcha. That's helpful.
Yeah, because some of the content, they have to water down if it's about drugs or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, a senior can handle a little bit more than a 7th grader.
Exactly. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Have a good day.
See you later.